Good evening, everyone. If you follow my channel at all or my Instagram, please do, at Maritime Foam on Instagram and YouTube. Well, you know YouTube, you're here. I am a big fan of MeakerArms. I'm going to put a link down there so you can see all of his work on Etsy. MeakerArms does a lot of blaster design. Most of my favorite Meeker projects all center around the Nerf Rival Knockout. It is one of my favorites. It is a breech load, single shot, prime it down here, fire. Great little blaster, gets almost 100 FPS. It's very inexpensive. Great blaster. What MeakerArms has done is use this as a modding platform to launch rockets, to launch shotgun blasts, and even launch short darts from a clip-fed monster. And all of these are with the stock spring. If you love Nerf and you get a 3D printer for Christmas or for whatever, or you buy one for yourself, what great projects to work towards. The print quality on some of my Meeker builds were early on. Some of them aren't the best, although some pieces are great, some pieces aren't. This blue color that I love is a really junky filament that I will never get again. It's kind of too bad because I like this color scheme, but I'm branching out, and I had to branch out because there's a brand new Nerf Rival Knockout blaster built on this platform. I have my parts all printed. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to do a bit of a mod guide on how to take the Knockout apart, how to remove the air restrictor, and install the new barrel, and then put on the shell. It's all designed really well. It's pretty easy to do. This build, I'm going to use the Mega XL barrel. There's a couple versions of the Mega XL barrel that you can try. I know he did some experimenting to see what performed best. One performs best for Mega XL darts in really good shape, and one of them seemed to be a little bit better for ones that were worn out. Most of my Mega XL darts are in pretty good shape, so I used the smooth barrel variant. The other one is called the stubby variant. I actually have it printing. It would have been printed by now so I could show it for the review, but we had a power outage and I wanted to do this tonight. You can see it on the Etsy page. You can see all the different types of barrels and he breaks down what they all do. And I'll probably do a short sometime in the future because I'll probably build a few more of these, to be honest. I printed out a couple of the other barrel options. After I get the blaster all assembled, I'll revisit these, give a little bit more information. For now, I'm going to focus on this Mega XL firing version. Let's get started. The good thing here is no matter which barrel you use, whether it's one of these ones or the lipped ones that I'm printing, that's a little bit of smudge from my build plate. Whether you're using these ones or one of the lipped ones, this build guide is the same for all of these. So hopefully this will help. First thing we do, as always, is we take out all the screws. There we go. I don't know. For some reason, that was just a little bit harder than it should have been. Sometimes that's the way. Always double check, make sure you have all the screws out, and then just work your way around the edge of the blaster. Oh, you know what it is. These pins are a pretty tight fit, and there's a couple of these pins holding the blaster together, so that can make it a little bit hard to pry things apart. So that's probably what that was. Now we're taking out the things we don't need. This is our return spring for when that breech pops open, it returns back. We don't need this anymore. I always keep all these springs. You never know. Get that out of there. We're actually not going to need... We're not going to need anything here but the handle. We're going to be replacing all of the blue. So I'm actually going to gently pry this off as well. There is a little screw in there holding that safety catch. Hopefully I'm doing a good job keeping things in frame. Not much to do about it if I'm not. Wow, why are you being so difficult? All right, We don't need any of this anymore. Oh, you were being difficult because there's another screw in there. Whoops. We'll take this little screw. So there's 2 screws in that safety. We'll get that out of there too. Keep all your little Nerf screws. We're gonna do the same thing here. Whoops. That's right. If this comes together, or comes apart, I'm sure I'll have to show you how this all goes back together anyway. Let's just make this easier. Let's take these catches. Let's take this all right out. Where do these go and what do they do? We'll talk about that when we reassemble. We have the same thing holding on the other side of the blaster here. So I'm going to take the screws out of the safety on this side. Way easier when you take off both. This is just a little padded thing. There we go. Gone. Now we have the handle is all apart here. We can put this aside for now. What we're looking at, I mean, this is essentially, well, it's not going to catch right now, but this is the important part of the blaster. Our plunger tube, our spring is in there, and this is the part that we're looking at, that in order to do our mod here, we need to remove the air restrictor. So I'm not sure how much you know about air restrictors, but basically an air restrictor, if you dry fire a Nerf blaster like this with the air restrictor in there, the air restrictor will kind of cushion the blow of that plunger hitting because it kind of traps in some of the air unless it's pushed on, and then it opens up. It's like I guess it would be a valve. I'm no engineer. Anyway, we need to remove this. All of those knockout mods I showed remove this. And I know when I first opened this up, I was like, oh, what is there? What's going on, puppy? When I was first looking at this, I'm like, oh, is there a special way to do this? But really, you just rip it out. Puppy. I have a diabetic schnauzer, and he's not having a good time right now. So we're gonna yank this thing out of here. In the end, this is going to be a clear piece. So we'll do some snipping. Snip. Yeah, not very scientific. It just goes like that. These are some parts out of there. I keep my broken parts separate. And then if we look down in there, there's still some stuff in there. So we want to pry those pieces. I can't find my good pliers either. So I have these old rusty basement pliers. Oh, ow. Ow. I did that off camera. I'm just basically reaching in here and I'm just yanking stuff out. So I'll show you a close-up of what this should look like when you are done. I'm just going to go in and flush cut in there. Honestly, I took out probably a little bit more than I even had to. You could leave kind of a little cross piece there. That's not going to block a whole lot of air. I just took out the entire thing. All you're doing is you're just taking out all of this piece, and there's a ring here. So there's this piece, there's a little ring here. There's some little tabs and posts that come off like this and come off the ring. There's just a bunch of business in there, I guess. And that can just all go in the garbage so that you have a clear shot through for your air. And hopefully I wasn't holding that up and out of your sight. And now that you have that clear channel, this Meeker part will go on right over there and deliver the air into this cylinder. Now we're going to wrap some tape around this because we want it to be a nice tight fit. Before we do that, let's get this blaster back together. I haven't done this in a bit, so this will probably require a bunch of editing as I fumble my way back through. I had to remind myself how this all worked. All right, so one, we don't need this. This is to do with the barrel. It goes with the rest of all the stuff. So here now we have the things that we need. So this little springy bit here, as you can see, has a little ring around here. There's a space right in here that can slot into, and it snaps in there like that. I will say I'm going to go through how to assemble this, but check out, and I'll link to it, Captain Slug's reassembly guide. Not Captain Slug, Captain Xavier's reassembly guide for the Knockout. That's how I used that heavily when I was doing my first Meeker builds. I mean, heck, I even referenced it again right now because I was having trouble remembering all of the steps. So, I mean, this is what I love. It's also complicated, beautifully complicated. I don't know if you can see that, but next we want to take this piece. You'll notice that one end is longer than the other. We want this little notch bit. There's a little channel for it right here, so it can move up and down. We want that to go there. Then we're going to take this, which is a catch, and we're going to put it over the pin and over part of this bar, like so. I'm actually going to put my, I should have had this in before. I'll put in my plunger tube like so, where it's supposed to sit. So that spring, then the metal rod, then this catch. You can have this in first. That might have been a better idea. Next up, I am going to put my trigger in place. My trigger, this part goes over the pin, and this part goes over the other side of my rod in here. This is my trigger lock. This kind of sneaks in underneath the trigger, like, is that right? Yep. You caught on something? No, I think that's right. That goes in like so. This goes in before this, and I'll show you why. This goes in like this. This part is up there, so it kind of interacts with that spring at the bottom. There's a space for this rod, and now this is the last piece that we put in. We have to kind of sneak. We have to kind of sneak it in there. I just pulled that down a little bit, and there. Now it's in place. It kind of, everything all sits in there just like so. All right, I think I got it. I am going to close this part back up so I can start working on the rest of the blaster without worrying about all this coming apart. I hope that was somewhat clear. If it's not, I'm going to link to Captain Slug's reassembly guide, and you will be in good shape. All right, let's put some screws back in. And that is all of the screws. Our handle unit is back together. It primes, locks, and safety still works. And I'm going, because we removed the air restrictor, I'm going to cover this up just to soften the blow when I pull that trigger. So this is all here, this is all works, and now we are ready to attach our barrel and our new look and feel to this thing. As I mentioned before, I am using the Mega XL barrel. I'm going to do just a bit of a dry fit here to make sure everything goes on as it should. I might have to do a tiny bit of sanding maybe. There's so well designed. There's a nice channel for all of these pieces to fit into. This. Oh, cool. All right. So this just kind of slots on there like that. Getting getting stuck on. Oh yeah, that channels together like that. I see. This probably can go on last now that I know what I'm doing. Oh, it's gonna look pretty cool. And then rail up here. Which way does the rail go? I'm gonna guess like so. That's gonna be awesome. My print quality is not the best. I thought I was dialed in enough to print this without supports, and it did a couple weird things here. So anyway, live and learn. It's good enough to do this. I'm definitely gonna make another one, so that's fine. But this is a good looking blaster, and any errors that you see are my own. So this dry fits together fine. Let's take it back apart and get a good seal on this barrel before we put it together. I am going to use some electrical tape to beef up around the O-ring here so we can get that tighter fit. This would have been a great thing to have done before I put the handle back on. But it's not like it's impossible. I mean, that's made it pretty snug. Maybe too snug. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then what I will probably do, which is maybe a little sloppy, but I'm going to put probably another ring of tape around here once I have it in exactly the right spot. No, I'm not. There's not really room to do that. So I'm going to put maybe a tiny bit more tape around here so that it is nice and snug. Now I know I just took this off, but I'm going to see if I can get it back on. No, I can't. It's funny how... Try a new piece. It's funny how one thin layer of tape can make such a difference. I could lubricate this too, and that would probably help. Yeah, I seem to have got it now. That is very snug. We're gonna have a good seal. Yeah. Sorry, I should be trying to do this as flat as I can so that everyone can see. Oops, that's upside down. There we go. That will do it, just like that. That's a pretty snug fit. I would imagine that will be a pretty good seal. Good enough anyway for me to try it out a few times. The other side of the blaster on. Pretty good fit. Something is getting in the way in the back. It might just be these little tabs. Maybe. Maybe not. I'm going to take them off, though. I don't know if I should have to do this or not, but... That side's flush. Or somewhat flush. I kind of ruined my flush cutters by mistake. That's a better fit. Maybe that was even recommended to do, I don't know. But if it was, I missed it. But now we did it. That's going to go together really, really nicely. M2 steel screws. Let's try these instead. Because these ones just don't seem quite big enough. I think Meeker suggests little self-tapping steel screws. I might have even ordered these based on his recommendation for what to use. I feel like I probably did, actually. I'll put a link to these screws as well, in case that would be helpful. This is super cool looking. A longer screw there would be good. Well, we'll call it good enough. I'm gonna reprint this shell anyway. I will see if I can get some longer screws for this, because yeah, it'd be nice to be able to grip this right through. I might even have something else that would work somewhere, but that's okay. We will do that later. Let's just get this guy together for now and take a look at it. I think I put this on the wrong way. Yeah, boy. Goes on there nice. I'm a bit bummed about that. I might actually, I kind of stripped this side. I'm thinking I might try to screw this in from the other side, just for now. All right, this is kind of together. This looks beautiful. It is together. I just needed a little bit longer screws. These ones are 12 millimeters. I'm gonna put a link to these and to what I think would work better. Well, these screws did work for some pieces. It's just I would have. Well, I need a longer screw for the connectors to the top of the body. I might check and see if I have something before I even fire this. Don't have anything that will really work. I'm gonna get some better screws for this, but this looks pretty cool. I'm gonna test fire it and see how it works. That works pretty great for the stock spring. First test firing. 51. Duplicate. 350s. Very consistent. And there you have it, my friends. We have turned this into this. A Rival Knockout form factor blaster that now fires Mega XL almost as well as a big rig. But I mean, this is quite a difference in size. The big rig firing this, I was getting consistent 57, 58 on the chronograph. This was getting 50, 50, 50, 50. So yes, this is getting 7 or 8 more FPS. But look at the size of this. This is just so compact and performs so well. Stock spring, another cool Meeker Knockout platform blaster for the collection. I looked things up. I know I had a little bit of trouble with the screws. I am using the recommended screws by Meeker. I think I'd mentioned before, the body of this blaster didn't print incredibly well. I think we're going to print it again with supports. He said he didn't use supports for his, but I might not have my printer as dialed in as he does. This gives you an idea. I will do a reprint. I'll update on that. But what a cool blaster. I'm already excited to make a version of these other ones. I'm sacrificing so many knockouts these days. I hope they go on sale again so I can get a few more of these at $8 or $9 a piece. That would be nice. This is so fun. I wish I had the camera on that target, but you probably heard it. This is my new favorite Mega XL blaster. Thank you, MeakerArms. Thank you for watching. I hope you try out this blaster. Let me know if you do. What one do you think I should do next? But we have this smoothbore ×4, which you can jam in using half lengths. You can fire anywhere from 4 to 12 darts at once out of this one. This is the same concept, just firing a few less darts. There's a lipped version where there's a bit of a lip around here to attempt to fire darts in waves of 3 or 4. Any color ideas? I'm open to suggestions. I'm really liking this purple, yellow, gray, and blue combo when you have it loaded. I think this looks really good. Everything's all a bit loose. I'm going to get that all tidied up, but still, cool blaster. Now you know how to build it. Until next time. Wow.